we're not at a stage yet where I can honestly say, truthfully say that if you're a person of color, you should not be concerned about any interaction that you have with the police, in the same way that I can't say to a police officer, you shouldn't worry about what community you are being asked to operate in.
There's the Attorney General of the United States saying we're not at a stage yet where he can't tell people of color that you shouldn't be worried about interacting with the police. This is the problem. This is what does it. And as Andy McCarthy pointed out in one of his pieces at National Review after the shooting of the 2 police officers, this one entitled Patient Dialogue, the President of the United States called for patient dialogue after 2 police officers were executed in cold blood. Joining us now is Andy McCarthy, former federal prosecutor and New York Times bestselling author of Faithless Execution, Building the Political Case for Obama's Impeachment, and of course columnist and senior fellow at National Review. Andy, I mean, what do we expect when this is our leadership?
Well, yeah, that's the perfect question, Steve. This is the kind of leadership that we've gotten from Attorney General Holder from day one. I think if you come out of the box first thing as Attorney General and tell the American people they're cowards on the matter of race, and you continue to beat that drum throughout your tenure at the Justice Department, and then you make those kind of moral equivalent statements, particularly now after this past weekend, when you think about the New York City Police Department, which is not only the best police department in the world, but is also a police department that's very representative of the very diverse city that it represents and polices. It's just it's mind-blowing and it's sad at the same time.
And they're one of the most restrained when it comes to firing their gun. Complaints against them have been dwindling year by year by year. And you have a mayor who, regardless of what he says today, a mayor who stood there and in unprecedented, in dumbfounding fashion, said, my police force is racist, has been racist for many decades, and I'm afraid my black son is going to be hurt by them. I mean, again, here we go.
Well, because their first impulse is always political, because they think that the divisive rhetoric, which really is ripping New York City apart. As a New Yorker, it's just heartbreaking to watch it. But their first impulse is always to play to the political base. So, when Representative Gabrielle Giffords gets tragically shot by, what turns out to be a person who was mentally disturbed, their first impulse is to condemn
talk radio and Rush. Yeah,
talk radio. Yeah. You guys who do what you do, guys like me who do what I do every day. Most of whom, as I think Rush has even pointed out, didn't even know who Gabrielle Giffords
was. Right.
Right. And then, then you have a situation like this where, in an atmosphere that the left has stoked, that Obama's base has stoked, that Obama himself has stoked, along with Holder, along with Sharpton, who they've made basically a consultant to the administration on matters of race, which means on matters of demagoguery from where they're coming from. So you have a situation where they've created this climate which signals to all the fringe crazies that if they do violent things, the reaction is going to be, instead of to condemn them in a way that's unambiguous, to rationalize, to look, we're not for violence here, but we have to understand they have a point, and we need to have dialogue and moral equivalence and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
So you signal to those people, if they do stuff like this, that they're going to get a sympathetic hearing. And how can you be surprised when stuff like this happens?
Absolutely. As you pointed out right at the beginning of your piece, he didn't say police acted stupidly, but he also hasn't come out and said anything. He just issued a statement as bad as that was. And of course, when Trayvon, I had a son who looked like Trayvon. In Cambridge, the cops acted stupidly, and right on down the list, the Gardner shooting, the Gardner decision. But Andy, when you have the president, the attorney general, and the mayor of New York City who have an inherent bias against cops, this is where it leads us. Listen, I said this to you last week because I didn't know we'd be calling on you again on short notice, but thank you. Merry Christmas to you and your wonderful family, and we'll speak to you soon, sir.
Yeah, and let's hope that it's a happy and peaceful New Year, Steve. And
absolutely.
ourselves.
Absolutely. Andy, thank you. Andy McCarthy, ladies and gentlemen.